This video is brought to you by G2A.com. Is it just me, or have we seen a recent resurgence of the Mishimas in Tekken? The previous game in the series, Tekken 7, was a very mixed bag for these guys. For the majority of the game, Devil Jin dominated as one of the strongest characters, with regular Jin being not too far behind. But because of their extreme difficulty, neither of these characters saw much use in top-level competitive play. And that goes double for the other two. Heihachi and Kazuya were honestly just unimpressive for the majority of the game's lifetime, sitting around the mid-tier in almost every pro player's tier list. They were both arguably the two most demanding characters in the game, and they just didn't offer enough to make that difficulty worth it. Towards the end of Tekken 7, Devil Jin was heavily nerfed, losing pretty much all of his combo damage, bringing him right down with the other two. These three characters were broken in Tekken Tag 2, so maybe they were finally paying the price for that here, with them all being brought very far down. Jin remained very strong, despite what the millions of down players will have you think, but that's really it. The core Mishimas all just took huge falls in this game, and were just not very impactful. This, in my opinion, has all completely changed with Tekken 8. Every single Mishima has undergone significant changes in this game. Honestly, a lot of them are almost unrecognizable when compared to any of their Tekken 7 counterparts. I believe that this has led to it being a pretty amazing time to be a Mishima player. Almost all of the Mishimas are considered strong characters, we'll talk about you later, and are seeing more use in competitive play than ever before. Just look at the recent Tekken World Tour finals. We had 4 different Jin players in the top 16, with CBM, Raif, Daniel Mato, and Book. But okay, that's not too surprising, right? Jin's one of the top 5 characters in the game right now, and he's been made easier than ever before. He's pretty much the perfect tournament character. But what's more surprising is that all the other Mishimas, besides you, were seen in the World Tour finals. Japanese god Keisuke went on an incredible run with Kazuya Mishima himself, beating Ulsan's Dragunov. Yeah, a Kazuya beat one of the best Dragunovs in the world, making top 16. We also had the newer Argentinian player, Lee Mishima, represent Heihachi, beating CBM's Jin. We even saw Reina, with Ulsan briefly returning to his old Reina. When was the last Tekken World Tour Finals where we saw 4 different Mishimas make an appearance? To my knowledge, this is the first time ever. And it's not just this one tournament. You're seeing Yagami having incredible success on Reina across the world, and we've even seen Joka returning to his Heihachi recently. This is the most Mishima representation we've seen in years. This kind of stuff just didn't happen in Tekken 7. And it goes even further beyond pro play. In general, the Tekken player base are just using Mishimas way more than before. Comparing the popularity charts of Tekken 7 and 8, we can see how much they've gone up in popularity. Jin went from the 9th most played character in Tekken 7 to now being the #1 most popular character. Kazuya's basically stayed the same, he's always been hugely popular, but Heihachi has gone up a ton as well, going from the 11th most played character to now being the 5th. The newly added Reina took Devil Jin's spots, and okay, I'll admit it, Devil Jin is struggling. And we'll talk about that later, but this is still a huge surge in popularity for the general Mishimas. It's a great time to be a Mishima fan. But what exactly contributed to this? Why are they so much more popular than they were before? In this video, we're going to be going in depth, looking at each Mishima and going over how I think the developers succeeded with their design in this game. Their visual design, gameplay design, balance philosophy, all of that good stuff. So let's get started. But first, a quick word from the sponsor of today's video, G2A.com. I'm sure you've all heard of this website. It's the premier destination for digital entertainment, offering video games, software, and even gift cards, all with instant delivery. It's Christmas time, and I'm sure a lot of you guys are looking to pick up some new games for you or your loved ones. Maybe you've been trying to get your friends into Tekken and have been thinking about gifting them the game. Or maybe you're interested in it but have been waiting for a sale. Well, G2A.com has got your back, offering incredible discounts and limited time daily deals from now until the end of the year. If you're in the market for any digital entertainment this holiday season, G2A.com is your one-stop shop. On top of all the huge sales going on right now, you can also get an additional 10% off by subscribing to their completely free newsletter. All you need to put in is your email, and you'll get an extra 10% off on your next purchase. Click the link in the description and in the pinned comment for huge savings on all of your digital entertainment this holiday season. Start your gate to adventure with G2A.com. Huge thanks to G2A.com for supporting the channel and this content, and let's get back to the video. Let's start with the big one. Kazuya Mishima is, in my opinion, the biggest winner out of all the Mishimas in this game, at least compared to Tekken 7. They spared no expense, making him look perfect here. His visual and audio design have never been better. This guy really is the coolest feeling character in the game, let's be real. His gameplay changes are, in my opinion, the biggest factor here. Kazuya in previous games was an incredibly demanding character. He lacked a strong neutral presence or poking options, as he almost entirely relied on pure outplays and reads. That was it, that was the character. And this naturally made him a pretty terrible tournament character. Here in Tekken 8, they gave him a much-needed neutral game. His newly added Devil Fist is arguably his most important move now, defining his mid-range presence. He's also one of the biggest benefactors of the new Heat system. His Heat game is very strong, serving to enhance his already strong 50-50, and giving him some of the best wall pressure in the entire game. He has huge combo damage, insane pressure, but most importantly, newly added safety with a new Devil Fist and brand new options like a CD 1+2, his buff down 1+2, and crazy Heat Dash utility. Safety is very important for pro play. He no longer has to take these gigantic risks that he always had to take before to get anything done. He's just an overall great character, and they did such a great job simplifying him in some ways to be a little bit more approachable for newer players, and also appeal to tournament players, but also keeping his identity intact. He's still one of, if not the hardest character in the game. He has no easy 15-frame launcher, he gets 0 wall travel without learning the difficult 3-1 cancels, and you still need to master the wave dash. They kept all the classic execution that Kazuya players love, while giving him a little bit more support in other areas that were lacking to bring him up to speed. This is how you do it. Everyone wins here. Compare this to a character like Law, who had all of the execution people have been practicing for decades just removed, so he could be more appealing to new players. Imagine if that happened to Kazuya. We would not be happy. Kazuya overall struck a perfect balance, and it's easy to see why so many people love him in this game. Heihachi Mishima is awesome. I've seen so many people recently saying he's the most fun they've ever had with a Tekken character, and it's pretty easy to see why. They did a phenomenal job with reworking him into the Tekken 8 system. The developers decided to have him be the more defensive Mishima archetype in this game, probably because of Reina more or less taking his old spots, and I think that was actually a great idea overall. The concept of a super heavy hitting, counter hit, and timing based Mishima is a really cool concept. Despite this though, he still retains what makes Heihachi Heihachi. He still has the electric, still has the 50-50, the wall splat flash punch, the forward 2, and his classic, very difficult execution. The new stuff he's been given is awesome as well. His back 4 is his new defining move, and it's one of the most satisfying moves to hit in the entire game. It is so fun to use. He has new cool stance stuff, having a guard break and an unbreakable throw, and can we just talk about how cool this throw is? This has got to be one of the coolest moves ever used in Tekken. He almost has a whole new identity in this game. He's the patient, defensive archetype, who waits until he has you figured out and then swings with his huge counter hit launchers, and gains access to the most damaging combos in the game. But he still feels like Heihachi. Like I said before, the execution is still there, his wall pressure is still there. They just did such a great job with his rework in my opinion. He feels unbelievably satisfying to play. Every time you land a down forward 1 and do the charge follow-up just frame and get the heal, or doing his new back 2 just frame to extend combos and get off as many heals as you can in one combo, there's just no other character who feels this clean and satisfying to play. And that's not even to mention the new install, where he basically goes god mode for 1 round per game. 12 frame launcher, broken hell sweep, plus on block forward 3, the character's just pure dopamine to play. He's also very well balanced in my opinion. He feels strong while having clear weaknesses, being his tracking and bad lows. Remember that even though he might seem relatively low on some tier lists, every character in this game, besides like the bottom 5, are incredibly powerful, and the difference between mid tiers in this game and the characters above them really are not that big. Heihachi's a very strong pick in this game, and as the broken top tiers get toned down more and more, I think he's going to feel a lot better to play. What can I say about Reina that hasn't been said already? Not much. She's an amazing addition to the Tekken roster, and to the Mishimas, combining the classic Mishima game plan with more modern stance-based pressure and rushdown. She really is a perfect hybrid character, having everything you could want. An electric, a neutral defining forward 2, amazing poking, amazing damage, and of course some more gimmicky utility like weird strings and stance stuff, which is always helpful in catching your opponents off guard. Sure, she struggles with lows like Heihachi, but honestly they're not nearly as bad as his lows. Her design is awesome, and her visual and sound design is also great. In my opinion, she is the coolest and most satisfying electric out of all the Mishimas. She again feels like she strikes the perfect balance between being decently easy to pick up, using her simple tools and pokes like forward 2, but also having a huge skill ceiling. The nature of this character's stances and extensive moveset means that you can keep learning stuff on her pretty much forever. She struck a huge chord with casual players. I know so many people who picked up Tekken 8 as their first ever Tekken game, or maybe even fighting game, just for Reina. They did an amazing job with her, and despite what some of the down players will tell you, she's still a great character, and is going to continue seeing high play rates for the rest of the life of this game. You all know about Jin, so I'll make this quick. Jin is great in this game. They turned one of the most difficult character specialist picks into a far more beginner-friendly and approachable Mishima. I made a video going in-depth on how he was simplified in this game if you're interested, but I think overall, this was the right choice for the character. Having at least one Mishima be more pick up and play makes perfect sense, especially for this game, considering that he's now the main protagonist. Jin is succeeding at every level of play, being the most popular character in the game at all ranks, and being one of the most played characters in tournament professional play. He really just is the one-size-fits-all Mishima. He is a lot stronger than he should be right now, and will almost definitely be receiving nerfs in the next patch, but I just can't stop myself from liking him. It's so awesome to see him having so much success in this game. I think they did a great job with him, integrating a bunch of the devil stuff into his moveset. His animations have never been better, and he's just a really fun character to play. If you play Jin, don't let the character hate get to you. He's an awesome character and deserves the popularity he's gotten in this game. It's really nice to see a Mishima being a competitive play staple like this for the first time in years. Enjoy this guy while he lasts, because the nerfs are coming. Okay, and this is what a lot of you guys have been waiting for. Devil Jin kinda sucks in this game. I've made 2 videos on the character now, so I'm not going to go too in depth, but let's start by talking about the positives. Devil Jin has never been cooler in the Tekken series. I can't praise Namco enough for his new visual design. This is one of the coolest characters in any fighting game, and oh my god, his voice. His voice single-handedly keeps me playing the character. Devil Jin is probably the biggest visual improvement out of any character going from Tekken 7 to 8, and honestly, I think the Devil Jin mains are loyal largely because of this. The character is a struggle right now, and they could have taken the easy path and moved to Jin, but no, almost all of them stuck with Devil Jin, because there's really no other character in the game who can match how cool he is. They gave him a ton of new stuff in this game, with Morning Crow and the Chain, to the point where he feels very different from his Tekken 7 counterparts. Despite this, the character is pretty firmly in the bottom 5, with a lot of people actually considering him to be the worst character in the game. He still has strong tools like every character in this game. Down back 1+2 is amazing, electric is obviously great, but he's just lacking compared to all of the other Mishimas. This is the only Mishima who's seen almost no presence in competitive play. His poking is pretty awful, and he's just lacking a strong mid to control the match. But despite all of his downsides, I don't think he's that bad. I honestly believe that with a couple targeted buffs, he would become way better and see way more use in competitive play. All he really needs is his old down forward 1 back. Poking is very important in the top level play, and a -6 down forward 1 is just trash. Make it -1 or even -3 on block, and make the high extension guaranteed if the first down forward 1 connects. That's really all they need to do to make him substantially stronger. If they want to go the extra mile, they could buff his Demon Paw range, and maybe a few other stuff to bring him in line with the others, but this would largely fix all the issues with him. He wouldn't be broken top tier, but he'd become a very solid character, and there'd be a reason to play him over the other Mishimas in tournaments. Devil Jin is awesome in this game, despite him being bad, and I still consider him to be an overall win for the Mishimas in Tekken 8. They did such a good job with him. He just needs a few buffs, and then we'll hit the perfect 5 for 5 with Mishimas. With all this being said, I really believe that the Mishimas are back. This is the best time to be a Mishima player, and it's so cool seeing almost all of them perform very well and be strong in their own right. Hopefully this continues throughout the life of Tekken 8 and we keep seeing more and more Mishima players in top level play. Because, let's be honest, there's no cooler characters to watch or play as the Mishimas. But yeah, that's about all I've got for this video. Let me know in the comments who's your favorite Mishima and why. I'll be down there chatting with you guys as always. If you guys enjoyed, make sure to like and subscribe to support more scripted Tekken 8 content like this. It's a really huge help, as only about 20% of my viewers are actually subscribed. It's free to do, and it only takes a couple seconds of your time. Thank you guys again for watching, and as always, a big thanks to my Patreon patrons and YouTube members. Your guys' support is a really big help. Thanks for watching, remember to check out the sponsor of today's video, G2A.com, and I'll see you guys later. Take it easy.